This week's portion, Yitro, some might consider one of the most important Torah portions in the entire 5 books of Moses because it contains what's known as the Ten Commandments. It is the dramatic description of God's revelation to the entire community of Israel, the one time that God in Jewish history revealed God's self to the people, and they all experienced together that incredible, awesome experience. And they all heard God speak to them, tell them what the 10 basic guidelines are of having a just, equitable, and religious society. And though this portion is quite dramatic and serves as a central focal point of what it means to be Jewish, the question, though, should be asked as to, was this really the right time for God to do this? The people had just left Egypt. They had just defeated the Amalekites miraculously by Moses having his arms held up high so that God, through Moses, could inspire this ragtag group of slaves who have never been trained in armed forces to defeat the dastardly, wicked Amalekite people. So they had just experienced everything from Egypt, the Exodus, and this war, and they complained about lack of food and water. And now the people are camped at Mount Sinai, and God wants to give them the 10 Commandments and have Moses stay on the mountain for 40 days and teach him the Torah. And so it begs the question, was this really the right time? Were the people really ready for that moment of revelation? Because when Moses had his own private moment, he himself argued with God and did not accept the mission from God right away. So if Moses wasn't accepting of that powerful, impactful spiritual moment, how much more so would the people not be ready for it? Now, of course, the question could be asked, would the people ever be ready? But at the same time, the people hadn't been prepared for this, and perhaps that could lay the groundwork for all their actions in the rest of the Torah, in which they continue to question Moses, to question God, to worship the golden calf, and do other things that reflect the fact that they were not spiritually ready for that moment. And so even though we in later generations see this as the crux of what it means to be Jewish, perhaps that moment of Yitro should have, and the 10 Commandments should have waited for some other time in Jewish history. Just a thought. Shabbat Shalom.